Well, as you guys can all see out there in the YouTubeverse, the tank is clearing. Stuff is becoming more visible further back. Stuff that was a bit more murky not too long ago is becoming more clear. And today is a good day to kind of do a little bit of this because it is cloudy outside and there is not much reflection really going on. There's a little bit, only when I get to certain ends, but we can go ahead and kind of show the tank some, how it's doing. I did do a bit of a water change. I'm going to top off a little bit more. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn this water off and let you guys see what it's like when the sediment isn't really kicking around. As I do more water changes, I'm clearing the stuff out nice and slow. But to rush it and just pull everything out at once isn't going to really fly too much because that's going to cause a lot of issues with things, you know? So I don't want to make my stuff reset. I don't want to stress any of the animals that are in here because I got stuff that's sensitive to that kind of stuff. You know, you got these little ghost shrimps and stuff in here too. Don't know if you can really see that little guy too good right there. He's kind of, he's right in there, kind of a thing. Let's see. Can we zoom in on him? Let's see. Oh gosh, super zoom. Oh no. Oh, that's not working. Abort. All right, now we got the tank all filled up to just about where I want it to right now. It's not the very, very tippy top, but it's just at the plastic lining there. This is kind of like a plastic lining thing that they got. Nothing fancy, but it does do the trick. And it's a little murky. I just poured a bunch of the water in and stuff. It's going to kick around for a bit. Going to give this about an hour, and we can kind of get a really good look at the tank and everything from there. And you guys can see what I have and kind of see what I get to see as I stare at it, just knowing what is in here and so on. You can kind of see the cool murky shadows of some of the Mopani wood. I'm going to be wiping off some of the inside of the glass and stuff still, and then probably some more on the outside of the glass. I only really keep this front part right here with actual viewing, clear of all the sort of, I would say, algae and anything. I let algae grow on the back and the sides of the glass and everything because that is great supplemental feeding for my snail buddies. I don't know if you can quite tell, but there's snail trails back there on those glass, and it's because they enjoy snacking. But the Anacharis I brought in, the one string that came in with the betta fish, unfortunately, if you know about her, she came in at the job with the bag with no water in it. Not sure how that happened. And I brought her into this, so I didn't want to put her in one of those cups. And this little piece of Anacharis came with her. But they accidentally gave us a regular version of Anacharis rather than the narrow leaf version. But this is growing in good. That's a new sprout there. And you can see that's another little vine thing coming up. And then rootage and stuff. So yeah, that's going to be growing out right there. You got this root coming out of that. You know, it's going to be pretty cool. Found a way to anchor some of the other plants that need to be kind of off the ground right now. That's the snail problem's becoming more and more in check down here. And the animals, such as the Corydoras and that crazy on-the-go mystery snail, always on point with this stuff. Also, I have the yo-yo and coolie loaches. They're snacking up the food real quick, too, before the snails really get to it. So the real trick of controlling this problem naturally for me, the option I chose, is to balance out the tank using other animals and creatures to kind of take out a bunch of the problem. You can see there's still some down there. Some of those are empty shelves. Some of them are still moving and kicking. And, you know, I'm going to wipe down this glass here on the bottom, give it a bit more of a clearing viewage as this sediment falls and follows through. I was about to say follows. I don't know. Falls through, yeah. But as things clear, you get to see kind of the cool stuff I do have planned. And even some plants, like it's a slow grow, but you can see the moss is doing its trick too. But as you can see all right here, this is a thin sheen of sort of like algae and stuff. I'm going to clean that up, let this water settle. We're going to get right back into the tank for the rest of this video. And this is kind of a before and after thing too. I mean, it was super clear if you look at the videos when I first had it up. And then I introduced some floating plants. The floating plants had some snails in it. The snails that I have kind of tear through the substrate. So what was once planted with a bunch of rooted stuff and very clear, these bugaboos came up from the bottom, eating the roots, destroying all the plants. So trying to kick it back by using things that can float like these dudes up here, and then also trying to use moss and stuff, because the moss is just, it grows super good and everything. So hold up, let me clean this up, and we'll be right back to it. Alright, like I said, slim pickings on the Anacharis stuff, but hopefully those will do what they can and kind of start growing out some. But this is the narrow leaf variety, which is a little different than this thicker leaf variety right here. So slightly different species of Anacharis when you're looking at the two different ones. But they should be able to grow all together just fine. I'm going to keep this water off a bit longer because the fish seem to be enjoying the calmness, and I'm able to see more towards the back. You know, that's a silhouette of one of the Mopani wood pieces I have, and you can kind of see there's a little gap under it and everything. That is one of the Anacharis decided to float on down towards the bottom, and that's okay. They can do that down there and hang out where it's at, and that's perfectly fine for them. They can kind of free float. They don't really need to be planted. In fact, planting them anything deep will cause any big problem, or will cause big problems. It won't cause anything to really grow. That's what I was trying to get to. But you can see all the fish and everything. Everyone's doing good. The ones that are doing good. Of course, when you have a bunch of fish, there are sometimes some won't make it as long as you would hope or whatnot. I do remember having 6 neon tetras in here, but I think one of them might have gone because I did notice a sort of like bump under the mouth, you know, kind of a thing. So he was getting some sort of like a lump or something. Usually I would suspect that would be cancer because that is not hole in the head disease or ick or anything like that he did have. So, and it wasn't a fungal infection either because that would have really spread to the other fish and stuff and it would have been fuzzy. But you can see they're doing pretty good. The Corydoras are fun, chunky little friends and all that, just hanging around, kicking about. I don't know the age or anything, and I suspect that bigger one here is just a full-grown female. Usually when it comes to Corydoras, females are the larger of the species. And yeah, everything's doing really good. The tank is clearing out very nicely, doing very good. We're not there yet. We're not back to where we were, but we are doing a slow and steady change up on the environment to go back to what it was without jumping the parameters too much and scaring the system. Because that did kind of happen before, and a few of my guppies did get jarred. And that probably what caused some of the ick to happen in this tank. And there's a Rorschach photobomb right there. Silly kitty. But yeah, this is going well. And I do hope these plants grow out. Now that the light's able to hit towards the bottom some, a lot easier. I will start putting rooted plants in here. But as you can see on top of the Mopani wood piece, it's going to be hard to tell. But there are... Oh gosh, that did not work. That zoom in did not work. The light's making it hard to see, actually. You might be able to see them better at night. But I can see the shadows and silhouettes of some of those Malaysian snails still kind of hanging out back there and messing with stuff. But the guys who are in here kicking, and they doing great. And pretty soon we're going to have water that we can see all the way to the back of the tank with. And all these plants growing in and stuff will provide the oxygen needed. So I really will try not to do any more with the bubbler too much once these plants come in again. I had to put a bubbler on once the water started getting bad, real bad. Just so there would be the right amount of oxygen to keep things going. And that looks like, yeah, right there. Hard to tell with the murkiness in the middle, but towards the back, that is another plant starting to grow in. Like I said, as light's hitting the bottom. And there are some things, such as Java fern leaves, that kind of falling down in there. Yeah, down below, it's so murky looking. But as you can see, as we rise up, it does clear up to the point where it looks really nice towards the top. So this just shows... the water changes and stuff is doing the trick. We're going to have this tank looking super good, right back to how it used to be. But this is what nature does. This is natural. Water will look like this in ponds and lakes. Not so much rivers, because rivers are running water, and running water normally doesn't look this murky. I mean, some streams and stuff might, especially at basins. But you do not want to be up there. Well, that is my cat telling me I need to get him into the room and everything. And that's pretty much it for the videos today. I kind of try to do a lot. I try to do everything recording-wise based on what I do on today. Normally, I just kind of do it and don't do anything about it. But for today, we try to do something different. I don't know where you got that clothesline from. Buddy, you got to chill with that crazies. All right. Well, we're going to let this be. And I will be back for some more videos another day. You all have a good one. Peace out.